pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. And I'll go ahead to establish quorum. Go ahead and call roll call. We got Ms. Lupita Fuentes, present. Ms. Glenna Purcell, present. Mr. Chris Hiller, present. And myself, Secretary Hector Alvarez, present. And we do have a quorum. At this time, I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing of the Eagle Pass Independent School District Texas Academic Performance Report. And we have nobody signed up for the public hearing. So we'll go ahead and close it at this time. And we'll move on to citizens communication. We'll open up citizens communication and recognitions. And there's nobody signed up for citizens communication tonight. So we'll go ahead and close that up and move on to item number 1, recognition of Perfecto Mancha's Dazzling Mustangs dance team for winning first place in jazz and second place in open category at the TAMIU dance competition.
Good evening. Members of the board, and of course, Superintendent Gonzalez. Thank you for all allowing me to spend some time with you this evening. Our first recognition for tonight will be to recognize Perfecto Mancha's Dazzling Mustang dance team and their recent success. Sunday, January 13th, Perfecto Mancha's Dazzling Mustang dance team participated at Texas A&M International University's 7th annual Dance and Cheer competition in Laredo, Texas. The girls set the floor on fire and brought home some serious hardware. The Dazzling Mustangs won first place in jazz and second in open. Go Mustangs and keep dancing your hearts out. At this time, we invite the board and Mr. Gonzalez to come forward for pictures, and the girls are on their way. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your Dazzling Mustangs dance team. If we can get the first row to go down on your knees. First row. There you go. Second row squat. Perfect. Thank you, ladies.
Don't move, huh? Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more.
ahead and stay up here for recognition of Perfecto Mancha varsity cheer team for winning first place in varsity small non-tumbling and first place in varsity novice small tumbling at the Eagle Pass cheer competition.
Our next recognition is in honor of Perfecto Mancha's cheer team, spectacular showing at the annual City Cheer Competition. Saturday, January 19th, Perfecto Mancha's varsity and JV squads proudly represented their campus at the City of Eagle Pass Parks and Rec's 17th annual cheer competition. The girls came out victorious, placing first in the varsity small non-tumbling category and first in the varsity small tumbling category. Way to go, Mustangs, and way to cheer your way to success. If we can get the first row of girls to squat. Nice. Thank you, ladies.
Hold on. Y'all ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. Thank you.
Next up, we'd like to recognize Rosita Valley Literacy Academy Giants cheer team for winning first place in the pom-pom division at the Eagle Pass City Cheer Competition.
Our next recognition is for the Rosita Valley Literacy Academy Little Giants Cheer Squad and their success at the annual City Cheer Competition. Saturday, January 19th, RVLA Cheer Squad proudly represented their campus at the City of Eagle Pass's Parks and Rec 17th Annual Cheer Competition. The girls came out victorious and placed first in the pom-pom division. The Little Giant coaches and parents are very proud of all your hard work and dedication, ladies. Keep shaking those pom-poms, Little Giants. Can the girls in the front, can you get on your knees? There you go. Done. Thank you. Smile.
Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to recognition of CC Win high school student Ricardo Morales for being selected to the All-State Football Team 5A by the Texas High School Coaches.
CCISD and CC Win are proud to announce that Ricardo Ricky Morales has been named to the All-State 5A football team by the Texas High School Coaches Association and the Padilla Poll. Ricky was not only voted to first team All-State, he is the first football player from CC Win to ever be bestowed this recognition. Ricky has already proven to be a role model on and off the field as he is one of the founding 4 members of the EPISD Spirit Ambassadors. His successes and perseverance make him a great example for future generations to embody, and for that we all applaud him. We do have his family here, his sister. If you would like to come up with...
Everyone else.
Everybody get a window. Hold on, good. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. Thank you.
Take one of my phone. Sorry.
1, 2, 3.
We'd like to move on to recognition of Superintendent Student Advisory Committee members Luis Ainsley Jr., CCWHS, and Jared Bates from EPHS for presenting at the Texas Association of Regional Councils biannual staff training and board of directors meeting in Austin, Texas.
Our next recognition is for Superintendent Advisory Committee members Luis Ainsley Jr. and Jared Bates. Wednesday, February 6th, Superintendent Advisory Council members EPHS Jr. Jared Bates and WIN Senior Luis Ainsley Jr. presented their group's Go Green initiative at the Texas Association of Regional Councils biannual training in Austin, Texas. The duo held their own breakout session at 1:15 p.m. over their journey on becoming student leaders with the Superintendent Advisory Council. They also spoke on how they are now strengthening their project across the district. Their presentation created quite the buzz as they were asked to share it with other communities and regions. Mr. Gonzalez and all of EPISD administration would like to congratulate these young men on this huge accomplishment and for all the time and energy that went into preparation for this event. Way to go, Jared and Luis, and thank you for representing EPISD with style. Can we get the principals in this next photo?
Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Hold on. 1, 2. Thank you. Hold on again.
Moving on to the next item is recognition of Perfecto Mancha Elementary for the highest energy conservation savings for the month of November 2018.
Our next recognition is for Mancha Elementary and their combined efforts that have earned them the title of Most Energy Conservation for the month of November. Mancha showed the highest conservation and was able to save 71%. This is the greatest percentage so far. Congratulations, Mustangs, on a job well done.
One, two, three. See you.
Moving along with recognitions is LDC for being selected as the most clean and maintained campus for the month of January 2019.
Inspections have been made across the district on how well EPISD school grounds have been maintained. There have been visitations to not only school campuses, but district buildings as well. This month's recommendation goes out to LDC on their merits for an outstanding job on maintaining the school grounds clean and safe. Thanks to the hard work and outstanding job from the Little Mass, the school achieved a total score of 63 out of 65. Congratulations, Little Mass, on your campus beautification.
One, two, three. Thank you.
Also, I'd like to just say one thing. You know how they just got the most clean campus, but outside of that, like Mr. Martin Luna here, he's been helping out with the kids, refereeing, umpiring, baseball, the Little League baseball for all of our students. So it's like, not only do they do their work, but they go out there and still help the community and the kids in our district. So, and I think that's it for recognitions. If it's okay with the board, we're going to go ahead and go on with district reports and presentations and take 1, 2, and 3 together as one. Any questions? If not, we'll go on to number 4. delinquent collections activities for October through December 2018.
Are there any questions? That report, Sonia Gonzalez is unable to be here tonight, but I don't know if the board has any questions on the report.
Any questions, board?
Our collections are really good.
If not, we'll go on to number 5, presentations of the Eagle Pass Independent School District 2017 to 2018 Texas Academic Performance Report.
Yes, we do have Mr. Rene Martinez to do the presentation.
Yes, good evening, board members, Mr. Gonzalez. So what we have here today is the Texas Academic Performance Report, which is a requirement. And this is an overall view of the state of the district. And the first item that we see here is, of course, our accountability rating, which is AB. We also have the accreditation. We are accredited for this school year 18-19. And this is basically what the TAPR looks like, but it's rather convoluted. It has way too much information. So what we did, we deconstructed the report and we made it more user-friendly. So this is data that Mr. Camarillo has covered before with you as far as STAR assessment scores are concerned. And we normally, what he'll do, he'll usually report on any given grade level, and we usually compare one year to the next, in this case 17 and 18. But we can also look at it a little bit differently. We can look, for example, at grade 3 in 17, where that particular cohort scored a 71 as third graders, but then the following year, in 2018, they improved to a 77. So you see a 6% increase for that same particular group. So why do we do this? The reason we do this is because now the state is focusing on growth from year to year for the same particular group of kids. It's not just comparing last year to this year, but actually tracking the students from year to year. And you'll notice every single grade level from 2018, it's either at or above the state average. But if we keep tracking the cohort, let's say 4th through 5th, we have a 70 in 2017 as 4th graders, and then you have an 88 in 5th grade the following year of the same group. And that is, one, because they improved, but secondly, 5th grade does have 2 administrations. So that you have 2 opportunities that go, that are included in the accountability. So you do see that difference there. We can do the same thing from 5th grade to 6th grade. We see an 87 to a 77. Again, we need to remember that that 87 is 2 administrations versus 1 in 6th grade. So you see the difference there. Now, 6th to 7th grade, we have a 71 to a 74. Again, following the same cohort there. So that there's an improvement of 3 points from that same group from year to year. 7th to 8th grade, we have the same situation as 4th to 5th, because in 8th grade we also have 2 administrations that count for accountability. So you see a 10-point increase from 7th grade to 8th grade. Now, one thing that we cannot do is compare 8th grade to 9th grade English 1, because 8th grade and below are only the reading assessment. That's all we're doing. English 1 and 2 include both reading and writing. However, you can compare English 1 to English 2 as it improves from a 67 to a 70. So as you can see, the trend is following the cohorts, the actual groups, there's an upward trend. There's a positive change. So there's growth, and that of course is what the state is looking at, and we need to focus on that as well. Any questions on that one? Moving on to the writing, here we do not have the year-to-year data, simply because we only have it in 4th and 7th grade as such, as separate exams. But you can tell that in 18 we have a 7-point difference between the district and the state. So we're about 7 points above the state average. And in 7th grade, about a 3-point difference between the state and the district. Again, above the state average. And we can do the same thing we did for reading with the math results. We can follow the same system here, we can go from an 80 in 2017 for the grade 3 cohort and follow them to 4th grade with an 86. So there was a 6-point growth for that same particular group of students. Okay? Same thing from 4th to 5th grade, 81 to a 97. Of course, we have 2 administrations in 5th grade in mathematics, just like we do in reading. And then we go from a 94 to an 88 from 5th to 6th grade. And again, 6th grade only has 1 administration. So that would be the reason for that. 6th to 7th, 83 to a 76. That's the progress there, or change. However, you can see that our 7th grade kids scored a 76 versus a 72 from the state. And again, every single grade level, we're either at or above the state average, which is always our target. And we have our 8th graders, 78 to 91, and 8th grade 2 Algebra 1, 87 to 85. And again, we have a 2-point lead between the district and the state in Algebra 1 as well. So those are the scores for mathematics. Then we have science and social studies. These are not vertically aligned as far as assessments are concerned. They're vertically aligned as far as curriculum, but not assessments, because you only have a few grade levels that have these assessments. So you have 5th grade, 80 to a 76. As far as science is concerned, 4-point lead over the state. In 8th grade, 81 to a 76, about a 5-point advantage for the district. And then in biology, a 4-point difference. Again, the state being above the state average. And that is for science. Now in history, we only have 2 grade levels that are tested, 8th grade. And that's social studies, 8th grade, 72 to a 65 of the state. So we have a very good lead there, about 7-point lead. And then U.S. history, 95 to a 92. Again, every single grade level at or above the state. And then we look at the EOC, of course, high school, Algebra 1, 85 to an 83, Biology 81 to an 87, English 1, 65, 65, no difference there, English 2, 70, 67, U.S. history 95, 92. So those are all the grade levels that are tested, and all of them are positive as far as this district is concerned. District participation in attendance, 99% of our students took the assessments, so we have very good participation. We did have a little bit of a dip in attendance rate here from 15-16 to 16-17. It is a 2-year lagging indicator of 0.4. The dropout rate, there it is for 7th and 8th grade. There was a 0.4 increase in the 7th, 8th grade range. High school 9-12, a decrease of a little bit over 1 point. And that's what we want to see, decrease in this particular number. Graduation rate. And this is a very big one because we have never attained this score before. We have a 92.6 graduation rate for our high schools, first time ever. So that's kudos to both high schools and of course everyone here, because we have never attained, I believe, a 90 ever before. And this time we're almost at a 93. Then we go to post-secondary readiness. And of course we have the 2 high schools, the district, the region, and the state. College ready here on the left-hand side. District 42.2, state 47. Then you have the both subjects, and then you have it by the 2 categories, ELA and mathematics. And ELA is 47%, mathematics is 37.1, and these are the state numbers that we have here. Then completion of either 9 or more hours of dual credit, and of course this all goes with accountability, 28.2 for the district, 19.9 for the state. AP met criteria, 14.2 for the district, 20.1 for the state. Associate's degree, we don't have any. We might see that changing here very soon. Next year, okay? That's our early college group. Career military ready graduates. Career military readiness, we have 16.2 for the district, state 13.2, so we're above the state as well. Proven 3-based certifications, 6.2 for the district, 2.7 for the state. Graduates with IEPs and workforce readiness, 0% when you have any students graduate under those circumstances. CTE coherent sequence coursework aligned with industry-based certification, 22.4 versus 17.3. Again, ahead of the state average. And enlistment in the armed forces is 1.7 district versus 2.2. Now on this one right here, the Department of Defense does not provide any information in regards to who does or does not enlist. That is on a voluntary basis or information that the campuses can gather. The DoD will never give us that information. Advanced dual credit course completion, of course, grades 9 to 12. Any subject, 19.9 for the district versus 37.1 for the state. In English language arts, 9.9 versus 16.8. And of course, the students are able to select if they take the dual credit or not. Mathematics, right here, 11.8 versus 19.5 for the state. Science, 2.2 versus 5.7. And social studies, 12.5 versus 21.8 for the state. Again, the students are the ones who decide what type of credit or course they want to enter. CTE coherent sequence, annual graduates, we have 45.5 versus the state 50.5, and the previous year was 63.3, so it took a little bit of a dip there, but it's still within range of the state average. Completed and received credit for college prep courses. These are the kids who would not be ready for TSI, the Texas Success Initiative, and they do have the option of taking some of these courses. The enrollment is rather low because it is again up to them to decide if they want to take it. We have 0 in ELA and a 1.6 in math versus 0.8 in the state for ELA and 1.4 for mathematics. AP results, and the first one that we see here is the participation. So all subjects, we have 17.7 for the district, state 26.2. English language arts, and again, this is participation. This is not the score. 9.3 versus almost 16%. Mathematics 2.4, 7.2. Science 4.3 to 10.9 for the state. And social studies 7.8 versus 15% for the state. And that's in regards to participation. As far as the criterion, as far as the performance is concerned, we have the all subjects here with a 59.1 for the district, which is a very good when you compare it to the state because we do have a 10% difference there. Okay? And you have ELA 44.6, 41.3 for the state. Math 20% versus 51.3 for the state. Science 35.4 versus the state 38.3. And social studies 40.3 versus the state 41.4. Now one of the things we need to remember is AP assessments, even though the kids might take the course, it is up to them to take the assessment or not. Not all of them take it. SAT results, ACT. So we have the class of 17, 86.0 tested, the two campuses compared to 73.5 for the state. But then we look at that criterion, which is the actual performance, 7.5 versus 22.3. So we did have an increase from one year to the next, about a 30-point increase, but we also need to pay attention at the performance right here. Now the kids who do go on to universities in the state of Texas are tracked, but only those who attend schools here in Texas, not those who are out of state. So you'll see that some of them are not found. Well, they might have attended schools out of the state. Yes, sir.
On the previous page,
Yes,
the ACT, those grades, what do you think we're lacking? Or what are we doing to?
well, the first thing we need to look at is the number of participants. It jumped 30 points. So anytime you have more of participation, usually the performance goes down. That's just regular statistics. But we are looking at providing some sort of a class or
But it is what we want. We want more people
exactly.
to take tests.
We want more to take, but we also want the performance to increase. Definitely. So it's a positive
So what-
growth.
What do we do to bring this up?
Yes, it's very rare that you find a district that tests 86% of their kids for SAT. Usually they test only the kids that are going to go to college, or the high kids. So in this sense, we almost tested everybody. So of course that performance is going to be lower. Now, we have been looking at some online materials to improve SAT in general, because we still need that score to go up regardless. But that's something that we are working on, and it's something that we already meet with the curriculum department. You know, we're looking at different resources. You know, I told Mr. Camarillo and Renette to review the Cambridge, the Princeton review, everything we're doing. Right now, I'm having a meeting next week, specifically and reviewing some materials that we got at the TCA conference, so that we can improve those scores.
And this jump in participation was in part due to the Gear Up program that we used to have a couple of years ago. So they did push the participation of SAT, so that's why you see the jump in numbers there. Because we used to have that through Tammy, I believe, and they pushed the participation rate up. And it's just one of those things. But we are definitely looking into improving the outcome of the assessments. And coming back to this one right here, you see the students in their first year in a public school. And this, of course, does not include the kids who go to private schools in the state of Texas, nor those who go out of state. So you're not going to see every single student, as far as the numbers are concerned, who did enroll in a post-secondary program. And we have them by campus right here. 115 in four-year public schools, 242. This is, of course, Lopez High School. Not from 178. Either they went to private school or out of state, or they just did not enroll. And then when high school, 75 in a four-year, two-year public school, 158. Not found, 204. Again, perhaps because they enroll out of state, private institution, or they just did not enroll. Now, graduates enrolled in Texas Institution of Higher Education, right here, when we look at the percentage of kids who actually enrolled, we have a 59%, almost a 60% enrollment from the district as compared to the state. So we do have a lot of kids do attend universities, post-secondary institutions, as compared to the state. But again, what we need to also look at is how many actually, in this case, how many took a developmental education course. Here, you want to have a lower number than the state. These are the kids who would have to take remedial courses as freshmen. So the district was 33.4, the state 55.7. This is one of those few cases where you do want to have a lower number than the state. And we district and campus profile, of course, our financial rating say superior, accreditation status accredited, accountability rating B, special ed determination status needs assistance, ASVAB, which is a military assessment, meets requirement. We do have an enrollment of 14,520, of which 76.4% are economically disadvantaged. Student information group, again, the 76.4 equal disadvantage. Non-educational disadvantage would be the inverse, which is 23.6. ELs, basically a third of our kids are English learners, and the students with disciplinary placements, 1%. At risk is almost 62%. Those are demographics that we have. And continuing with that, ethnic distribution, African American, 0.1%, Hispanic, the majority, 97.2%. White 0.8, American Indian 1.6, Asian 0.2, Pacific Islander 0, four more races 0.1%. Students with disabilities, by type of primary disability, the biggest number, of course, is going to be intellectual disabilities, close to 46%. Some physical disabilities, 21.3%, and autism, 11.3%. Now, these numbers are in relation to special ed, not the overall population. So this is just when you look at the 1,333 students, that's what these relate to. And students with non-categorical early childhood, that would be 1%. We have also disciplinary data from the campuses, right there for you to be able to see it. It's part of the report. And Campus leadership, we have the average experience of our principals is 7 years. Principals with the district, 6.9, which is basically all of them, on 1. Average years of experience of assistant principal, 7.3, with the district, 7.3 as well. Teaching staff, average years of teaching experience, 14.4. Average years of experience with the district, 13.6. Turnover rate is 5.1, which is very good because at the state level is over 16%.
I have to say, those are very good numbers.
Yes, it's because the state level is close to 16, over 16%.
And compared to what it was when I first moved down here,
Yes.
it was over 50%.
Yes. So they, for the most part, teachers stay.
Over 50. The turnover was terrible.
Instructional staff percent, 59.3%. Program enrollment, and of course, these are the programs that we have. Bilingual, 32%. Career and technical education, 25.4%. Gifted and talented, 6.9%. Special education, 9.2%. And those are very comparable to the state. And that's the last slide for the report. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to turn over the reins to our president, Mr. Barrera. Let the record reflect Mr. Barrera joined us at 6:36 since we got some action items coming up. Mr. Barrera.
Thank you. Sorry I'm late. We now move to number 6, presentation on Eagle Pass Independent School District calendar.
You have Mr. Costilla, Jesus Costilla, HR Executive Director.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Board President, Board of Trustees. As I said in the memo that I sent to you all, to Mr. Gonzalez, basically we're going to start with the process within the next 2 or 3 weeks. We have a group of about 30 individuals in our committee. And of course, we're going to look at the instructional days, the holidays, the grading periods, work days, dismissals, new teacher staff development for teachers. And of course, we pay close attention to the state assessments, which Mr. Camarillo is involved, and also the local college for our local spring break, so we can coordinate that with the college. So at this point, we haven't started, but we will be starting in the next few weeks, and hopefully we'll get a good working calendar for the 19-20 school year. If there's any questions, I'm glad to answer anything.
Mr. Garcia, you all have 2 samples? Or?
There's usually 2 samples that the committee works on, and of course, once the committee sees the dates and everything, we push them out to the district so they can vote. Yes.
One of the reasons we kind of wanted to see this, for example, San Antonio, which has said week, Fiesta, and they have certain movement where they can either give some days off so it doesn't count against you. We kind of wanted to see something like that to see how our numbers are looking in terms of the days that the kids go to school versus the days that maybe we can kind of look at in the future. So that's one of the reasons we wanted to see this presentation. Is that something that...
Of course, we can consider those things once we meet with the committee. I know Mr. Mijares Samuel is very strong in this because of the curriculum, and he makes sure that we have the days for training for teachers and as well for students to attend school. But certainly we can look into that.
I know that maybe the board is considering maybe for a stock show. Okay. Something that we can do is we want to finish the year for the graduation, because we have graduation Friday and Saturday. Sometimes when we push that day, an extra day up, it cuts that deadline where we have to graduate. Now, something we can consider is that we give them an extra work day at the end of the year. Because remember, we have enough instructional minutes already. The only issue that we have there is that if we take days before stock show, we're taking instructional days before start testing. So we need to balance that out because every day counts. But we can't consider something where we can give them an extra day or 2 for stock show without hurting the academics. Now, it probably would help because we can even look at the attendance days for those days. Because I do know that a lot of students are at the stock show during that time, via field trip, or their parents take them, or they're presenting an animal. So it would be something that we can consider and evaluate everything, because we don't want to impact accountability
Correct.
either.
Yeah, and that's,
I mean, that way, you know, the volunteers, you know, they can volunteer without having to go to work, you know, and they have more flexibility where maybe the stock show officers know that we don't have work that day, and they can basically count on more people.
something that's good.
Right? Anything else?
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we now move to item number 7, and if it's okay with the board, we kind of like to move that item down until we get close to closed session, so we can take it into consideration with the attorneys, if that's okay with the board. Do we need to vote on it? Okay, and then,
You can come back out and discuss it.
okay, I'd rather go to the action items first and then come back to this one. Okay. We'll move into action items at this point. Item number 1, consider and take appropriate action on the request to approve work orders pursuant to request for qualifications number 18-1409 for land surveying professional services, and the board delegates the superintendent or designee the authority to make related budgeted purchases of goods or services as per board policy CH.
Yes, so the board is, the administration is ready to move to plat Eagle Pass High School, CC Wynn, Eagle Pass Junior High, Sam Houston, and Seton Elementary for a total cost of $59,500. I also want to, note that the City of Eagle Pass Planning Department is willing to provide certain engineering services, saving the district approximately $15,000.
We do want to thank the city for that. They've been very helpful. And always willing to help out the school district and always willing to work with us.
Yes.
We want to thank them for that. And the surveying is being done by, who was it? Dirksen Engineering. Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Comments, questions? If not, all in favor? Motion passes. Number 2, consider and take appropriate action on the request to approve fee schedule pursuant to request for qualifications number 19-1711 for licensed engineer professional services, and the board delegates the superintendent or designee the authority to make related budgeted purchases of goods and services as per board policy CH.
Mr. Chairman, when we get to a motion on this, I would appreciate it if it could be made subject to final review of the contract by district legal counsel and administration. The final contract didn't come in until today.
Yes, if you look on page 136 of your board book, there you have the fee schedule of Red Dog, and Elizabeth is somewhere here, and he did a comparison of other engineering services such as Dirksen. So he found that they're comparable. Okay.
Quick question. And I think we had heard that, are they still Red Dog?
They have been bought by another company. Mr. Velez and I advised him that the district would only enter into a contract with Red Dog as a subsidiary of that other company, would not enter into a direct contract with the other company. And we changed quite a bit of the contract language to reflect what was in the initial request for qualifications.
So what happens once, they completely get bought out and we're no longer dealing with Red Dog?
Well, I think we have an option at any time to terminate the contract if we need to.
We have that leverage, I guess?
I
Are you gonna include a termination clause, a 30-day termination clause? Is it-
Yeah, I'll make sure it's in the contract.
Good. Not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, depending on legal review. Is that right?
Administration. There is a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Comments, questions? If not, all in favor? All opposed? None. Motion passes. We will now move into consent items. We will take all 5, if that's okay with the board. Do we have a motion to approve consent items?
So move.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Questions? If not, all in favor? Motion passes and consent items pass. And now, the Board of Trustees of the Eagle Pass Independent School District will convene in closed session as authorized by the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, to deliberate upon the following matters. Item 9, 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 1, the board will consider the request to hire personnel to fill vacancies pursuant to TGC 551.074. Number 2, the board will consider the request to hire a professional employee to serve as IO instructional officer, subject to possible future reassignment by the administration. Item 3, the board will consult with its attorney regarding legal issues relating to the district's hiring process and procedures. Item 4, the board will consult with its attorney regarding the publication of false information concerning district matters, TGC 551.071. And also the board will consult with its attorney in regards to discussion on E3 Integral Solutions, Inc., on energy efficiency and savings performance project. Do I have a motion to convene in closed session?
So moved.
We have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor? Motion passes. It is 6:56. Today, Tuesday, February 12th, 2019, and the Board of Trustees is now in closed session. No action will be taken. Okay, the time is 8:14 PM. The date is Tuesday, February 12, 2019. And I'm sorry, real quick. Well, let's get back into open session first. The Board of Trustees of the Eagle Pass Independent School District is now open, in open session, and we will move to item 10. But before that, we do want to make a note that Mr. Perry came in at 7 PM. So, item 9, number 1, consider and take appropriate action on the request to hire personnel to fill vacancies pursuant to TGC 551.074.
I move to approve the request to hire personnel to fill vacancies as discussed in closed session.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor? Motion passes. Item 10, number 2, consider and take appropriate action on the request to hire a professional employee to serve as instructional officer, subject to possible future reassignment by the superintendent.
Action on the request.
Action on.
Do it.
No, that's not.
No, it's fine like that.
I move to approve the hiring of Melody Teal as professional employee to serve as an instructional officer, subject to possible future reassignment by the superintendent.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any comments, questions? If not, all in favor? Unanimous. Action, it passes. We would like to, as the superintendent, we're going back to item number 7, to kind of look into the final audit for the E3 solutions, or E3 energy savings. If, you can start looking into the final audit. Any announcements, Mr. Montes?
Yes, we do have 3, actually. Wednesday, February the 20th is the community breakfast at Luby's at 8 a.m. And I will be presenting a PowerPoint on the completed and ongoing projects, thanks to the Gary. And I do want to thank Mr. Barada because he was scheduled to do a presentation, but we switched because of spring break. So thank you, sir. And Wednesday, February the 20th through Saturday, February the 23rd, Mr. Hiller will be attending the Winter Governance Seminar at Galveston. And last but not least, Tuesday, March the 5th, Special Olympics at the SAC starting at 9 a.m. We invite everybody. Maricela will continue to be reminding you of all of these things. That's all I have.
Perfect. If there's nothing else, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Any second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor? It's 8:17 and this meeting is adjourned. No sé qué